you someone who feels that even after going to the bathroom, your belly stays loaded, full of gas, and you feel constipated all day long, and then you try everything to get rid of this chaotic feeling, but nothing seems to work? Well, you've come to the right video, darling. Today, I'm going to clean up why you might be feeling this way and explain how to improve that sluggish intestinal transit that bothers you so much. I'm a dietitian here, and this is one of the most common complaints I see in my practice. But first, my love, I'm going to ask you to like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can reach more people who need this help. I'm here in Brazil, so let me know in the comments where in the world you are watching from. Now, let's get into the content. The longer the stool stays in your intestine, the more water it absorbs. Let's start from the beginning so you can understand exactly what happens to food from the moment it's on your plate until it leaves your body. You eat, the food goes down through your mouth and esophagus and reaches your stomach, where it turns into a paste. Then it moves to the small intestine, which is about 7 meters long. That's where your body absorbs almost all the nutrients you need. What's left over? Fibers, water, and undigested remains goes to the large intestine. There, the intestine removes most of the water, making the material firmer and forming the stool. This stool is gradually pushed toward the rectum. When the rectum fills up, it sends the signal that it's time to go. In short, food doesn't turn into stool overnight. It goes through several stages of digestion, nutrient absorption, and finally concentration and formation in the large intestine. The whole process from mouth to exit usually takes between 24 and 72 hours. The small intestine is faster, but the large intestine is slower. And that's exactly where the problem of constipation lies. The secret of a well-functioning body is all in the timing. When the transit in the large intestine slows down, the problem isn't just the delay, but what happens during it. The main function of this part of the body is to absorb water. And if the stool stays there longer than it should, the intestine continues to pull moisture from it excessively. The result? The stool loses its softness and volume, becoming dry and hard. This is the process that makes elimination difficult and brings that heavy discomfort. Besides the texture, there is a chemical factor. The longer this material sits there, the more carbohydrates and sugar residues interact with local bacteria. This fermentation process generates excess gas, responsible for bloating and abdominal distension, and that heavy sensation that takes away all your lightness during the day. With a hard stool, the natural movement of the intestinal peristalsis is impaired. This creates a difficult cycle. Slowness leads to hardening, and hardening leads to even more slowness. Often, evacuation becomes incomplete, causing the stool to fragment during the process and leaving you with a feeling that your body gets rid of everything it needs to. In summary, constipation is the result of an intestine that overworked itself in water absorption, turning what should be a natural process into something rigid and very uncomfortable. For many people, constipation is a condition that has been with them since childhood. It's very common to hear in the office that it's always been this way, turning discomfort into a routine. However, living with this doesn't mean it's the ideal state of health. That's why I say that knowledge helps us understand how our body works. And once we understand, we can seek better habits and qualified professional help to improve our health. Going back to the topic, some people strain so much to go that they end up causing injuries like anal fissures and minor bleeding, which makes the moment even harder. To recap, the large intestine, in its natural function, pulls too much moisture from the stool because it stays there too long. What should have been eliminated smoothly and rigid. It's a true vicious cycle. The longer the stool stays, the more water it loses, and the drier it gets, the harder it is to ingest, to move it out. And often we get used to the discomfort and forget what it feels like to be light. To know if you are constipated, watch this three main pillars: frequency and rhythm. Some people go every day, some people go every other day. Everybody has a rhythm. There's no general rule. But if you feel like your system is on pause for too long, your transit is definitely is low. Effort and texture. You should notice if you need to strain a lot, which isn't natural or healthy. If the stool is very dry, hard, or in a small pieces like pebbles, and if there's a feeling of obstruction like a blockage, the sensation of incomplete emptying, that weight that stays there with your body signaling that despite the effort, the process wasn't finished. Pay attention to how your body feels during the day. Bloating, stomach feeling distended and rigid, persistent gas from fermentation, and general discomfort. When the gut isn't working, it feels like nothing flows with the same energy, right? If you identify with two or more of these points frequently, your intestine is asking for a little more attention to recover its natural movement. But you know the story here that a constipated person can carry 10, 12, or even 30 pounds of old waste stuck in their body? Well, that's nothing more than a huge myth created to sell miracle solutions and aggressive detoxes that nobody needs. Our bodies are much smarter than people think. Even when the intestine is slow, it isn't an infinite warehouse. The large intestine has a physical limit to how much it can expand. If someone actually accumulated pounds and pounds of waste, we would be talking about a severe intestinal obstruction, a medical emergency that causes unbearable pain and requires immediate hospitalization. No one walks around looking fabulous with 20 pounds of waste accumulated for months without being in a hospital stretcher. So what really happens? Because of that heavy feeling and the increase in the abdominal volume isn't the weight of the stools itself, but rather gas and fermentation. Since the waste stays inside longer, bacteria produce gases that bloat your belly. Inflammation and swelling. Intestinal discomfort triggers a local inflammatory process, leading to fluid retention and distension. So always be skeptical of promises that say you lose 50 pounds just by cleaning your colon. True lightness comes from a system that works in balance, not from drastic measures based on myths. To understand how your gut is doing, you just need to observe your stool. The peptide. They are small, hard, and separate lumps, much like goat droppings. What does this mean? It's the ultimate sign that your transit is slow and your intestine is overworking to absorb water.
They've been stuck so long they've completely dried out. This type requires a lot of strain and causes significant discomfort. The ideal type. This is the famous sausage or banana shape with a smooth and soft texture. This is your gold standard. It indicates that your transit is at the right pace, with perfect hydration and the right amount of fiber. It should pass without any effort, leaving you with that wonderful feeling of completely emptying. It's the true definition of a well-functioning gut. Straining on the toilet might seem common for those with constipation, but the truth is, our bodies weren't designed for that much pressure. When you push too hard, you are overloading an extremely sensitive and vascularized area, which can cause hemorrhoids, fissures, rectal prolapse, and the weakening of the pelvic floor. All that downward pressure overloads muscles at the base of your pelvis. Over time, this can weaken the pelvic floor. For some women, can even lead to future issues like urinary incontinence. And let's look at the chemistry. The longer waste stays put, the more your microbiota feeds on the fiber and the carbohydrates remain. This fermentation produces gases like methane and carbon dioxide. The result, abdominal distension. Your belly gets bloated, rigid, and visibly larger. It's not fat, it's air and stool, creating internal pressure. Another important point, many women note the scale goes up when they are constipated and drops right after a bowel movement. But pay attention. It's not fat loss. It could be fluid retention, as the inflammation from constipation leads to both local and systemic swelling, or simply the weight of stool and gas, which is just temporarily physical weight of the stool and gas volume. I'll say it again. Even though you feel incredibly light after solving the problem, that story about carrying 10 or 20 pounds of accumulated stool is an absolutely myth. The weight variation is usually just a few grams, maybe 1 or 2 kilos, about 2 to 4 pounds. And in very specific cases, and most of that weight is actually water and the volume of the bloating. Nobody truly loses weight just by going to the bathroom. What you regain is your real abdominal contour and a sense of lightness. Our gut is totally connected to our brain. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach? Your gut completely locks up when you are out of your routine or traveling. That's no coincidence. It's your nervous system talking directly to your digestive system. The gut has such a vast network of neurons that it can make decisions on its own, but it lives in constant conversation with the brain. When we are under stress, anxiety, or pressure, the brain sends signals that completely alter intestinal movement. For many, stress or a lack of privacy act as a brake. The body goes into alert mode and decides it's not a safe or relaxed time to let go. The result is a constipation that fiber alone can't fix because the command is coming from the nervous system. For others, anxiety works as an accelerator. The brain releases a surge of adrenaline and cortisol that overstimulates peristaltic movement, flushing everything out quickly. It's that famous bathroom run before any meeting or an exam. In other words, lack of routine, stress, anxiety, and fear. It all impacts your transit. So for a gut to function well, we need a set of habits working in harmony. It's not a miracle. It's strategy. The nutritional basic is fiber. It adds bulky to the stool and feeds the good bacteria, which is why they're called prebiotics. Examples include oats, flaxseed, chia, fruit with skin, and green vegetables. And the good fats this serve as a lubricant essential for preventing dryness and helping the stool slide through. Without fat, everything gets stuck. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and nuts are great examples. And we cannot forget the golden rule. Drink water. Staying hydrated is ultra important. If you eat a lot of fiber but don't drink enough water, the fiber turns into a brick inside you, making constipation much worse. Water is what activates the fiber, so it becomes soft and functional. Probiotics also provide massive help to the gut because they are beneficial live bacteria that keep your microbiota balanced, fighting off gas and inflammation. Natural examples: plain yogurt, kefir, and kombucha. They ensure your internal environment stays healthy and clean. And movement and routine, it's not just about aesthetic. Exercising your abdominal muscles and doing aerobic activities indirectly massage the intestine. This physical movement stimulates your natural movement, helping the body push stool forward much more efficiently. Also, your gut loves predictability. Trying to use the bathroom the same time every day and taking care of your emotional health is what gives the green light for your brain to relax and let the system work. Even though we can transform our intestinal rhythm with healthy habits, chronic constipation it's not normal. A very common and dangerous mistake is using laxative on your own. Avoid self-medication. Frequent use of laxatives can make your gut addicted, causing it to forget how to work on its own. Furthermore, they can cause serious irritation and mask underlying issues that need real treatment. The goal is to make the body function naturally, not under chemical pressure. Always seek a specialist. If you notice blood in the stool, any sign of bleeding needs investigation, intense pain during evacuation, the bathroom should be a place of relief, not pain. Sudden change habits. If your rhythm has changed drastically without explanation, when they come out very thin or losing weight without effort, is a red alert for your body. And extra attention is needed if there are cases of colorectal cancer in your family. My darlings, this content is informative. The goal here is to give you knowledge, but nothing replaces a diagnosis from a healthcare professional. Every organism is unique and deserves personalized care. Before taking any drastic measures or medication, consult your doctor. And now I want to hear from you. Have you also heard that myth about pounds of accumulated stool and more words for nothing? Tell me in the comments if I took a weight off your shoulders with the truth. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications so you don't miss any guidance on how to live with much more lightness and well-being. A kiss from your dietitian. I'll see you in the next video.